The night air was thick with the scent of ale, old wooden beams, and the faintest trace of cigarette smoke that clung to the pub's history. The Rusty Barrel wasn't just any pub in London. It was a place where time slowed, where laughter and regret shared the same bar stools, and where a man could either drink in peace or find himself in the middle of someone else's storm. Jason Statham sat in his usual corner, the dim overhead light casting a faint glow on his pint of Guinness. He wasn't there to be noticed. He never was. But his sharp gaze scanned the room like a trained predator, cataloging every shift in movement, every crackling tension. And tonight, there was plenty of it. At the far end of the bar, a couple sat in uneasy silence. The woman, thin, tired eyes, fingers curled protectively around her glass, looked like she wanted to disappear. The man, however, looked like he wanted to be seen. "You're embarrassing me, Sarah," he said, his voice just low enough that only those close by could hear. "I'm not. You just love making me look like a fool, don't you?" He sneered. His hand gripped her wrist under the table, knuckles turning white. Jason exhaled, setting his pint down. He had seen this before. For years he had watched men like this, cowards who mistook intimidation for strength, whose power only existed when there was no one there to challenge them. And he had learned one thing. If you didn't stop them now, you'd be watching them do it again tomorrow. Before we dive deeper into this gripping and powerful story, let us know where you're watching from today. And if stories of heroism, justice, and unexpected acts of courage captivate you, don't forget to subscribe to Story Dash. Soon, we'll share another tale that will leave you speechless. Jason stood. The pub, alive with conversation only moments ago, felt the shift. It was subtle, like the air pressure changing before a storm. Patrons who had been busy with their drinks now stole glances, instinctively lowering their voices. Even the bartender, a man who had seen enough fights to recognize when things were about to get messy, paused mid-pour. Jason didn't make a show of it. He didn't need to. His presence was its own announcement. He walked toward the couple, stopping just behind Sarah's chair. He didn't look at her. His attention was locked onto the man. "Let her go." The man turned, an annoyed smirk on his lips, until he saw who had spoken. Recognition flickered in his eyes, but he covered it quickly with bravado. "You?" "Yeah, me," Jason said, voice calm. "Now let her go." For a moment, the man hesitated. His fingers twitched around Sarah's wrist, his pride warring with his survival instincts. Then, he released her, jaw tightening. Sarah rubbed her wrist, red marks already blooming on her skin. But she didn't leave. Not yet. "You don't know what's going on here," the man said, standing to his full height. "This is between me and her." Jason tilted his head slightly. Not anymore. The silence in the pub thickened. And then the man made his mistake. His fist shot toward Jason's face, fast but predictable. Jason barely moved. He sidestepped, letting the punch sail past, then caught the man's arm and twisted. Hard. The man gasped as Jason pinned him against the bar, arm bent at an unnatural angle. "You like hurting women?" Jason asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The man struggled. "Screw you." Jason applied more pressure, not enough to break anything, but enough to remind him how much worse this could be. "You don't get to hurt her," Jason said. "Not tonight. Not ever again." Sarah, still frozen in shock, felt something shift inside her. For years, she had told herself it wasn't that bad, that he didn't mean it, that it was just words. But watching Jason now, seeing how easily he had stepped in, how effortlessly he had done what she had wished someone would do for years, something clicked. This wasn't just about tonight. This was about all the nights before it. The man groaned. "You don't know who I am." Jason smirked. "Yeah, you don't know who I am either." With that, he let go. The man stumbled back, clutching his arm. His gaze darted around the pub, searching for someone, anyone, to back him up. But no one moved. Even the bartender just stared at him with quiet disgust. The man spat on the ground. This isn't over. Jason shrugged. Yeah, it is. The man stormed out, shoving past patrons as he went. The moment the door slammed shut, the pub exhaled. The bartender placed a fresh pint in front of Jason. On the house, mate. Jason sat back down, taking a slow sip. He didn't need applause. He didn't need thanks. Sarah, standing near the bar, looked down at her bruised wrist, then at Jason. You don't have to stay with him, Jason said, not looking at her. Sarah swallowed hard. I know. She reached into her pocket, her fingers brushing against her phone. And for the first time in years, she felt something other than fear. She felt free. The next morning, Sarah didn't go to work. She didn't go home to wait for an apology that would never come. Instead, she packed a bag, booked a one-way ticket out of the city, and left. And later that night, when Jason passed by the pub again, he glanced through the window and saw something that made him smile. Sarah was sitting at the bar, alone. But this time she wasn't afraid. Would you have stepped in like Jason did? Let us know in the comments. Violence is never the answer, but standing up for others, always the right choice. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Story Dash for more powerful, action-packed, and life-changing stories.